Today's news highlights 20250814. Date August 14, 2025. Republic of China August 14, 114. Time cutoff point, 1500 hours on the same day. News highlights Hong Taexiang, a nutrition expert at National Taiwan University, pointed out that commercially available hand-cranked drinks are high in polysaccharides and low in nutrients, which can easily cause fatigue. Black fungus is rich in dietary fiber and gelatin, which helps intestinal health and beauty. Chickpeas contain high-quality protein and minerals, which can stabilize blood sugar and increase satiety. Goji berries are antioxidant and eye protection. Red dates nourish the blood and calm the mind and add sweet fragrance. After simple cooking, you can drink it refrigerated. You can add lemon juice to add layers, which not only quenches thirst but also replenishes energy, making it a good choice for summer health. News highlights American studies have pointed out that carrots are rich in beta-carotene and active compounds, which can improve immunity, reduce inflammation, and reduce the risk of diabetes and cancer. Experiments at the University of Southern Denmark showed that drinking carrot juice for 1 hour can increase anti-inflammatory cytokines. Nutritionists remind that eating whole sticks can retain fiber, promote gut health, stabilize blood sugar, and reduce inflammation. Carrots can also help delay cognitive deterioration, protect the skin, reduce the risk of macular degeneration, and have natural anti-cancer effects, with a daily intake of 30 to 40 grams to meet vitamin A needs. News highlights according to the Road Traffic Management Penalty Regulations, it is a violation for automobile and motorcycle drivers to use mobile phones while driving on the road, and even if they stop at a red light, they are still considered driving, and the car will be fined 3,000 yuan and the motorcycle will be fined 1,000 yuan. The new Taipei court once ruled that driving a red light mobile phone was a short process, and that the green light needed to move forward and was still in the driving range. Although fixing the mobile phone on the stand does not constitute a handheld violation, the police remind that the operation will still be distracting and can easily cause accidents, and it is recommended to pay attention to road conditions to ensure safety. News highlights it is expected that Taiwan's main island and Penghu will break out of the storm circle in the early morning of the 14th, and make landfall in Kinmen in China and become a light typhoon. During the transit period, strong gusts of 17 or more were measured on Orchid Island and Green Island, and the accumulated rainfall in Dahan Mountain in Pingtung reached 436 millimeters. More than 24 households in Taiwan have experienced power outages. Taitung Hospital's emergency room was damaged and suspended, the Zhongheng Highway was blocked by rockfalls, and Kinmen flights were cancelled. Kaohsiung City evacuated 2,202 people due to landslide warnings, and vegetable supply was temporarily stable. News highlights the U.S. stock market hit a record high on the 12th, and the S&P 500 has risen nearly 30% since its April low. Bank of America, BofA, pointed out that investment opportunities in small-cap and mid-cap stocks have emerged, with the Russell 2000 index rising only slightly by 2.4% this year, which is still lower than the performance of large-cap stocks. Small-cap stocks are undervalued, supported by corporate reshoring and capital expenditure benefits, and profits are gradually recovering. Mid-cap stocks have low price-to-earnings ratios, good fundamentals, and low tariff risk, making them more attractive. Bank of America is particularly optimistic about financial stocks, supported by upward revisions to net interest income and better-than-expected loan growth, and short-term deposit cost pressures are controllable, but they are still cautious about the risk of the Fed's interest rate cut failing. News highlights at the 2025 Q2 conference, Chairman Huang Nanzhou pointed out that Trump's new mercantilism is reshaping global economy and trade, and Taiwan must balance China and the United States and expand into the EU and Asian markets. The net profit after tax in the first half of the year was 167.5 billion yuan and EPS was 1.05 yuan, and the cumulative amount in July reached 202.1 billion yuan and EPS 1.25 yuan, both hitting new highs. Overseas profits accounted for 25.2%. To help small and medium-sized enterprises cope with tariff and exchange rate challenges, we provide hedging training and small foreign exchange services. Huang also warned that the metal, machine tool, textile, and automobile industries will be affected by tariffs. News highlights China Evergrande announced that it will cancel its listing on Hong Kong stocks from August 25, ending nearly 18 months of trading since the suspension of trading on January 29, 2024. Evergrande was once China's largest real estate company, with a market value of more than $500 billion in 2017, but it has fallen into a debt crisis since the Three Red Lines policy, with debts of 2.39 trillion yuan and insolvency as of mid-2023. Founder Hui Jian was suspected of financial fraud and fraudulent issuance and was ordered to be liquidated by the Hong Kong High Court in 2024. Over the years, Evergrande has paid dividends of nearly 700 billion yuan, of which Su Jian cashed out about 500 billion yuan, and his ex-wife Ding Yumei was also accused of transferring assets and buying a luxury house in London. News highlights Black Myth, Wukong was created by Hangzhou Game Science for 7 years, and became a global phenomenon when it was launched in August 2024, with sales exceeding 28 million copies and revenue of more than 9 billion yuan by the end of the year. winning the TGA's Best Action Game and Voice of the Gamer. The production team takes romance as its competitiveness, scanning more than 100 historical sites and temples across the country in real life, restoring the details to the extreme, and giving monster poems and stories to show humanistic depth. The art exhibition held in Hangzhou attracted 13 people to watch, extending the exhibition period, and the possibility of a sequel became the focus of heated discussions among players. News highlights: US President Trump held a video summit with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders on the 13th to prepare for the talks between Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska on the 15th. German Chancellor Merz emphasized that any peace negotiations must involve the Ukrainian side, and refused to recognize the territory occupied by Russia with a ceasefire as the primary premise. Both Zelensky and Macron said Trump supports this position and that if Putin refuses to cease fire, sanctions should be strengthened. NATO Secretary General Rutte and U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent said they were united and reserved all options for Russia. The White House said that this double universal meeting is mainly to listen to and evaluate whether Putin is sincere in negotiations. News highlights: the Norwegian Sovereign Fund recently announced its Taiwan stock portfolio, betting heavily on the optical communication group, and the shareholding of Guangsheng and Lianya increased to 3.27% and 4.86% respectively, making Lianya the fund's second highest holding in Taiwan stocks. The fund added Boruoei, Shangchuan, and Huaxing Guang for the first time, indicating that they are optimistic about the future market of Taiwan's top 5 optical communications. The industry believes that as AI servers move from NVIDIA H100 to GB300, the demand for optical communication has increased significantly, and silicon photonics technology will become the mainstream in the AI era, attracting the world's largest sovereign funds to increase their layout. News highlights: US President Trump approved NVIDIA's export of control-compliant H20 artificial intelligence chips to China, with sales to be handed over to the federal government at 15%, and allowed semiconductor companies setting up factories in the United States to be exempt from 100% tariffs. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang actively lobbied, emphasizing that exports would not affect national security and promised that the United States would invest $500 billion in AI factories and supercomputer equipment. He is valued in both Washington and Beijing, successfully solving NVIDIA's market capitalization, bringing its market value to more than $4 trillion, and also affecting U.S. China technology and trade policies. News highlights: ASUS, 2357, said on the 13th that it would be optimistic about the AI server and PC business, predicting that GB300 will be mass-produced by the end of this quarter and receive large orders from a number of international CSPs. Chief Financial Officer Wu Changrong said that PC revenue is expected to increase by 5 to 10% quarter-on-quarter this quarter, and the components and server business will be flat, with the target profit margin of 4 to 5% for the whole year. AI servers accounted for 15% in the second quarter, and GB300 mass production will continue to the fourth quarter. CEO Hu Shubin emphasized that CSP orders in Europe, the United States and the Asia-Pacific region have broken through and business visibility is high. The growth of the PC business in the first half of the year came from the esports and commercial markets, and ROG Xbox Ally and new AI PC products will continue to drive revenue in the second half of the year. News highlights: driven by the clear U.S. tariff policy, rising expectations of the Federal Reserve's Fed interest rate cut in September, and AI themes, global stock markets soared across the board on the 13th, with U.S. stocks hitting new highs in early trading, with Japanese stocks breaking through 43,000 points, Taiwan stocks hitting the second highest in history, and mainland stocks and emerging markets also reaching multi-year highs. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq indexes rose in early trading, and the VIX index fell to its lowest point since January. The Nikkei 225, COPSI and Shanghai Composite Index hit new highs at the same time, and the MSCI AC World Index also reached a record high. However, UBS is rarely bearish on the U.S. economy, the U.S. dollar and the stock market, and a Bank of America survey shows that 91% of fund managers believe that U.S. stocks are overvalued, reflecting potential market risks. News highlights: artist DS, Su Ziwan, died of illness in February this year at the age of 48 and was buried in the Jinbeisan Rose Garden. On the 13th, the former Meteor Garden screen couple Yanshin Tesla went to the cemetery alone to meet with Big S's best friend Jia Yangja and her husband Wang Zheji to mourn. After leaving, he went to the Jinshan vegetarian restaurant for dinner, but his mood was still unstable, and he was in a trance many times when driving down the mountain, driving illegally, indicating that grief affected his spirit. The report pointed out that although the two had frictions, they established a deep friendship many years later, and the mourning process was full of sentimentality and memories. News highlights: Japan's Osaka Metro Chuo line broke down at 9:30 last night, affecting the section from Yumeshima to Nagata Station, affecting about 3 people, of which about 4,000 could not go home, and many people stayed overnight at the World Expo venue. Osaka Prefecture Governor Yoshimura Hirofumi apologized, and the organizers activated the response mechanism, arranged shuttle buses and taxi support, and opened the healthcare exhibition hall for rest, providing drinking water and food. People still entertain themselves in various ways, including dancing and gestures of love. News highlights: actresses Jiang Jiang and Guo Jingchun recently visited Wang Zuxian's moxibustion clinic in Vancouver, and were lucky enough to see the deity, excitedly calling out "my idol." Wang Zuxian recognized Guo Jingchun and generously agreed to take a group photo, showing affinity and professional aura. Guo Jingchun later shared a photo of the three of them and a high-definition photo of Wang Zuxian taking off his mask, and netizens praised it as still as beautiful, and the two were extremely excited about meeting their idols. News highlights: Typhoon Yangliu has weakened into a mild typhoon, and the Central Meteorological Administration lifted the land warning this morning and the sea warning at 8:30. There are still local showers in Huadong and Pingtung, strong convection in the central and southern parts in the afternoon, and high temperatures and hot temperatures in the western half, reminding you to protect yourself from sun and heat stroke. The weather will improve from tomorrow to next Sunday, but there will still be local thunderstorms in the mountains in the afternoon. From Monday to Wednesday next week, the moisture will increase, the atmosphere will be unstable, and there will still be strong convection. Tropical disturbances may develop into typhoons in the South China Sea in the next 3 or 4 days, and the probability of invading Taiwan is not high, but it still needs to be continuously observed. News highlights: a fatal accident occurred in Arita Town, Saga Prefecture, Japan on the 13th, and a 55-year-old Taiwanese female tourist surnamed Wu was hit by a moving train while taking photos at the JR Sasebo line level crossing near Doshan Shrine. Although there was an alarm at the accident site, there was no fence, and the siren was activated at the time, and the police are investigating the reason why the woman broke into the level crossing. News highlights: in the early hours of this morning in the Asian Cup men's basketball tournament, the Taiwan men's basketball team led by 21 points but was reversed by Iran and missed the semifinals. After the game, the official IG of the FIBA Asian Cup actually posted a meme call an ambulance, but not help me, attached to the logos of the Chinese Taipei team and the Iranian team, which was obviously mocking and caused dissatisfaction among Taiwanese fans. Netizens pointed out that in the past, the official IG did not use similar memes for other teams' games, questioning targeting the Chinese Taipei team, and even some foreign netizens left messages criticizing this move as disrespectful. News highlights: Siddiq Brothers cheerleading team Passion Sisters recently welcomed the new Korean blood Incheon goddess Kim Dua, who posted a beautiful photo of her hot blue lace swimsuit on the 13th, showing off her snow-white skin and good figure with a see-through design, which attracted enthusiastic responses from fans. Bien Helu, who is also a Korean in the team, also left a message: get dressed to make fun of the interaction. After Kim Dua and Wild Boar Princess Park Sunju joined, they formed the 4 pillars of Korean nationality with the original members Lee Danbai and Byun Hariol, who have both beauty and dancing skills, and their popularity continues to rise. News highlights: Park Sun-young, chairman of the South Korean Truth and Reconciliation Commission, was originally scheduled to hold talks with Taiwan's Political Affairs Commissioner Lin Mingzin, but was unilaterally cancelled by Taiwan before the meeting, and criticized Taiwan on Facebook for being arrogant and rude. However, Park Sun-young issued an article on the 13th affirming the personal apology of our representative in South Korea, Chu Jae-ai, calling this a correct example of international relations and personal credit, and emphasized that if you make a mistake, you should admit your mistake and apologize, and trustworthiness and responsibility are the foundation of maintaining the relationship, expressing appreciation for the sincerity of Chu Jae-ai and his fellow counselors. News highlights: moderate typhoon Yangliu quickly passed through Taiwan, and the Central Meteorological Administration has lifted the onshore typhoon warning in the early morning of the 14th, and the maritime warning will also be lifted in the morning. Meteorological expert Wu Derong pointed out that there are still local showers in Huadong and Pingtung today, with strong convection in the central and southern parts in the afternoon, and high temperatures in the western half, with temperatures of about 22 to 37 degrees in Taiwan. From the 15th to the 17th, the weather stabilized, with high temperatures and hot temperatures, and brief showers or thunderstorms in the mountains and some flat areas in the afternoon. From the 18th to the 20th, the moisture will increase, the atmosphere will be unstable, and the probability of thunderstorms will increase. There are also signs of tropical disturbances in the South China Sea, but the probability of invading Taiwan is currently low, and continuous observation is still needed. News highlights: the fire of Sanyuan Energy Technology, a subsidiary of Taiwan Cement Corporation, 1101, is initially estimated to have an impact on Taiwan Cement's profits of about NT $110 billion, and will be listed as a major post-period event in the first half of 2025. The fire is suspected to be caused by thermal runaway of defective cells, and the core area of the fire site is still under investigation. The CEO and general manager of Taiwan Cement Corporation voluntarily requested a salary cut, with senior executives taking a 20% monthly salary cut from August to the end of the year, and the head of the battery cell business was also held accountable. In order to maintain the supply chain, the Southern Science and Technology Plant has accelerated backup production lines and arranged overseas production with international partners, and orders for the Kaohsiung Sanyuan Plant and the Southern Science and Technology Plant have been scheduled until 2026, with production capacity exceeding the original plan. News highlights Typhoon Yangliu hit Taiwan on the afternoon of the 13th, and the treasure of the town apple king of Fushushan Farm was officially declared dead due to its lush branches and leaves, which broke from the root of the main trunk due to strong gusts of wind. Cultivated in 1971, Apple King bears 43 different varieties of apples, making it a marvel of Taiwan's agriculture that attracts tourists to take photos every year. The farm said that although Apple King was weakened due to illness, he regained his vitality after treatment and was still unable to withstand the power of the typhoon. The successor Apple Prince will be on the same page in winter, continuing the legend. News highlights Wang Zuxian, who was named Forever Xiaoqian by fans, moved to Vancouver, Canada and ran a moxibustion parlor after 20 years of hiatus. Recently, artists Jiang Jiang and Guo Jingchun unexpectedly met Wang Zuxian when they visited the museum, and they had a surprise reunion. Jiang Jiang made a video of the process and uploaded it to YouTube, and Guo Jingchun also shared a coverless version photo, allowing fans to get a glimpse of the idol's true face and praise her for her kindness and professionalism. News highlights bariatrician Chen Wolong pointed out that insufficient protein intake in breakfast can cause hunger, increase snack intake and the risk of obesity. He gave the example of a 14-year-old boy who only ate toast with jam and sweetened milk tea for breakfast, lacking protein, and was hungry in the morning and had snacks in the morning, but couldn't eat lunch, forming a vicious circle. Chen suggested that boiled eggs, steamed sweet potatoes, and high-quality cheese should be consumed for breakfast, and steamed buns with eggs, triangular rice balls, etc. should be consumed in moderation, and processed meats, sugary drinks, and teppanyaki noodles should be avoided to reduce the risk of obesity and diabetes. News highlights Chu Yangxiang, the Mr. Chuanlian who was once deeply rooted in the hearts of the people because of the advertising image of Chuanlian, interrupted his 16-year cooperation with Chuanlian in 2023 due to drunken destruction of supercars with iron rods, and his image was severely damaged and silent for 2 years. Recently, Typhoon Yangliu struck, and Chuanlian replayed his anti-typhoon advertisement 17 years ago, and confirmed that it will launch a number of new collaborations, announcing the official return of Mr. Chuanlian. Chu Yangxiang has returned to the fluorescent screen to host the program this year, and was witnessed filming a new advertisement for Chuanlian, and his comeback is obvious. News highlights Japanese housekeeper Jibu reminded that if the toilet and bathroom floors are cleaned in the wrong way, it is easy to rub dirt and bacteria more and more, and even damage the equipment. NG behaviors include vacuuming the floor, wiping around the toilet first, dry wiping the toilet seat, flushing a large amount of toilet paper at once, brushing stubborn stains, rinsing the toilet brush directly, and cleaning the nozzle with chlorine bleach. The correct way to do this is to start wiping away from the toilet, use a wet wipe or soft brush, flush in batches, scrub the nozzle with a mild detergent, and discard the disposable cleaning paper towel to avoid bacterial cross-section and damage to the equipment. News highlights mainland actor Zhang Linghe is known for his good looks and height of 190 centimeters, and his popularity has soared with dramas such as Feather of the Clouds, King Lanju, and Ningen Like a Dream. Recently, he held an event in Changsha Shopping Mall, but because of the sacrificial meal trying to break in, the scene was chaotic, and the organizer cancelled the event due to safety concerns. Previously, Zhang Linghe's team had urgently changed 5 hotels to ensure safety due to leaking hotel information due to sacrifice and proxy photography. Zhang Linghe later thanked fans on Weibo and emphasized that safety first, see you next time. News highlights Kenshin Uemura, a former member of the Japanese boy band One and Only, became popular for starring in the BL Japanese drama Minor, but in March this year, he repeatedly harassed female translators at a Hong Kong celebration banquet, including touching her thighs, inviting her to the toilet, and asking about her marital status. After the victim called the police, the Hong Kong West Kowloon Magistrates Courts convicted him of indecent assault, and the judge said that he ignored the victim's reaction and clearly showed no respect for women. Considering that he had withdrawn from the group, the star was damaged and liquidated damages were to be compensated. He was finally fined HK $1.5. When the verdict was read, Uemura Kenshin was emotional and needed the support of others. News highlights Zhao Lucy recently revealed in the live broadcast that before filming the rumored Chen Qian, she was insulted by the company for 3 hours because she did not receive a job for half a year. She pointed out that the company forced her to take on inappropriate business, and after refusing, she was choked with hard wings, and even hinted that she admitted to being drunk, but she denied drinking. At the end of last year, when the incident broke out, she was paralyzed and sought medical treatment due to high-pressure overtime work, and suffered from temporary deafness and aphasia. News highlights internet celebrity curator Chen Haihan visited China again on the 12th to Shenzhen, and opened a live broadcast during the trip to praise the scenery of Shenzhen and the comfort of bid cars, and pointed out that Taiwan had the title of technology capital in the past, but it has not changed much in the past 30 years, calling on Taiwanese people to unite like family. During the interview, the microphone was once silenced when the female reporter mentioned the ruling party, and then the staff replaced the equipment before it was restored. News highlights after the incident was exposed, he published a statement of about 3,000 words on Facebook, refuting the false report, saying that the weekly magazine only published 3 accusations in 1 minute and 31 seconds of phone inquiry, and the statements of the osteopath and self-media people were contradictory, and the incident occurred 6 years ago, and there was no controversy at the time. He emphasized that he had recorded evidence, accused the report of deliberately distorting the facts, and demanded that the 3 parties publicly correct and apologize, otherwise criminal and civil lawsuits would be filed. News highlights: actress Fang Yu recently shared her experience of being defrauded on Woman I Am the Biggest. She revealed that someone impersonated her best friend Wang Shimin and asked her for nude photos through chat. At first, in order to comfort her best friend, she took a nude photo without showing her face, and the other party had to ask again, only to find out that the other party was a fake, and immediately had a showdown with him but was blocked. She called on everyone to be vigilant, prevent fraud, and be lucky not to show their faces to avoid greater harm. News highlights: actor Qin Yang recently had a series of health emergencies. First sought medical attention due to lung nodules, followed for 5 years, and the largest nodule was 0.6 centimeters, and his condition worsened during Father's Day. Then he suddenly lost sight in his right eye, leaving only 0.02 vision in his left eye. Originally went to Qi to negotiate cooperation, a friend found an abnormal emergency referral and was diagnosed with severe retinal nerve and blood vessel occlusion, missing the golden 6-hour rescue period. Qin Yang admitted that he was depressed, calling on the public to pay attention to health, reduce staying up late and use mobile phones for a long time, and reminding them that physical health is the most important thing. News highlights: at the end of August, some zodiac signs in the workplace will usher in a career peak. Soha pointed out that the retrograde of Mars in Aries has ended, shelved projects have been re-promoted, and team morale has improved. Scorpio: Pluto is direct, the results of long-term hard work appear, and you may sign a major customer or complete the system launch. Sagittarius: Jupiter enters the career house, innovative inspiration helps break through the deadlock. Taurus: Venus retrograde ends, accumulated strength is concentrated, focus on details and planning, and steadily gain promotion. An affirmation. News highlights: DeepSeek's average monthly downloads plummeted by 72.2% in the second quarter, from 810 million to 226 million, and experts pointed out that its free strategy has led to the traffic dividend turning into high computing power debt, lacking a monetization mechanism, and the larger the traffic, the more losses it will lose. Compared with competitors such as Baidu, Byte, and Alibaba, DeepSeek has no platform binding, lacks reflow, and delays in the release of new models, coupled with US chip ban restrictions, hindering technology iteration and operations. The single source of funds and the lack of support from global cloud platforms also make it difficult to expand overseas, and the market attractiveness is rapidly declining. News highlights: the Taichung District Court recently appeared as a litigation agent, which attracted attention. Lawyer CAI pointed out in a post on Threads that if Chinese lawyers appear in court in Taiwan, it will not only violate lawyer qualification regulations, but may also impact judicial sovereignty and national security. The Taichung District Prosecutor's Office stated that the Chinese lawyer was suspected of violating the Lawyers Act and had taken the initiative to assign a prosecutor to investigate the case. According to the Lawyers Act, foreign lawyers are not allowed to perform their duties without the permission of the Ministry of Justice and join the Bar Association. News highlights: the Executive Yuan passed the amendment to the Special Regulations on Strengthening the Resilience of Economy, Society, People's Livelihood and National Security on the 14th, and a special budget will be sent after the third reading is completed, with the total amount increasing from 545 billion yuan to 590 billion. The amendment includes expenditures such as universal cash, strengthening the power system and caring for the disadvantaged, which will be disbursed within 1 month after the announcement of the special budget and completed within 7 months, without a wealth exclusion clause. The Executive Yuan stated that the inclusion of the power system can ensure the stability of industrial power supply, and the distribution period refers to the previous general distribution experience, reserving sufficient time for the public to receive it. News highlights: Shohei Ohtani faced off against his former club Angels today, serving as the starting pitcher and the first designated hitter, and hit a triple with a 107.2 miles per hour red change-up ball in the opening inning, helping the Dodgers take a 3-0 lead in the first inning. The hit also allowed Ohtani to set a new major league record in 100 years, becoming the first player since 1900 to hit a triple by a starting pitcher and first batter, showing a rare dual ability to pitch. News highlights: the Finance Committee of the Legislative Yuan passed the amendment to the income tax law in the first instance, increasing the special deduction for long-term care from 12 yuan per person per year to 18 yuan, which will be implemented from January 1, 2025 and will be applied to tax returns in May 2026. The Ministry of Finance estimates that the annual tax reduction benefit after the increase will be at least 1 billion yuan, benefiting more than 30 filers. Legislators and officials pointed out that in response to the declining birth rate and aging society, increasing the deduction can reduce the burden of family care. Another legislator proposed to add a deduction for health checkups, which the Ministry of Finance will evaluate within 3 months. News highlights: in the quarterfinals of the 2025 Asian Cup basketball, Taiwan faced Iran in the early morning, and although they led well at halftime, they were reversed in the final quarter and lost 75-78. After the game, the official IG of the Asian Cup posted a post to share the game clip, but put a meme of the Taiwanese and Iranian flags on the third sticker, and the text mocked Taiwan in an Iranian tone, "Call an ambulance, but not help me," causing anger among netizens. The picture was quickly deleted, but the disappearing third picture still sparked heated discussions and criticism among Taiwanese fans. News highlights: the Central Election Committee held a referendum briefing on the extension of nuclear power yesterday, and Huang Qiuakang, the representative of the positive side, advocated the deep hole geological disposal technology, which can inject high-level nuclear waste into crystalline rock layers 3 to 5 kilometers below the surface, saying that it is quite safe and should not be placed in private houses. Huang Qiuakang said that he was anti-nuclear, but after studying international experience, he supported nuclear energy. However, many netizens and nuclear abolition groups questioned the feasibility of the technology and site selection, pointing out that Taiwan has many earthquakes, the engineering is difficult, and the technology is still immature internationally, requiring long-term monitoring and multi-generational management, involving social, political, and financial challenges, causing controversy. News highlights: Typhoon Yangliu quickly passed through Taiwan on the 13th, landed in Tamili, Taitung at 1 p.m., and went out to sea from Kigu, Tainan at 4 o'clock, and gradually weakened into a light typhoon. Meteorological expert Wu Durong reminded that there may be tropical disturbances in the South China Sea in the next 3 or 4 days to form typhoons. After the Willows, the high temperature in southern Taiwan can reach more than 36 degrees, and there are still local thunderstorms in the afternoon from the 14th to the 17th, and the moisture will increase from the 18th to the 20th. News highlights: Internet celebrity curator, Chen Zhaihan, recently embarked on his second trip to China, publicly calling Chinese compatriots when he visited Shenzhen, and suggested that Taiwanese should go home. He criticized Taiwan's car prices for being too high in the live broadcast, saying that China's BB, Mercedes, BMW, is relatively cheap, and the female tour guide even described Shenzhen people changing cars as like buying cabbage. The curator said that the details of Chinese cars are better than those in Taiwan, and bombarded Taiwanese car companies for controlling the market and high prices, which sparked heated discussions among netizens, and criticized the remarks for being exaggerated and untrue. News highlights: Huang Qiuakang proposed the deep hole geological disposal technology, advocating that nuclear waste should be injected into the crystalline rock layer 3 to 5 kilometers below the surface for isolation, saying that it is equivalent to digging a jade mountain and ensuring that nuclear fuel is not released into private houses. However, netizens and nuclear abolition groups questioned the difficulty of the project, earthquake risk, and site selection issues, pointing out that this technology has been immature since it was proposed in 1957, lacks long-term safety evidence, and involves complex engineering, social, and governance challenges. News highlights: the referendum on the extension of the nuclear power plant and the recall of the 7 Blue Committee members will be voted on the same day on August 23. Li Jinyong, chairman of the Central Election Committee, reminded that the referendum publicity was not prohibited on the day, but the recall case was still subject to publicity restrictions, so it was not allowed to include recall-related content in the referendum propaganda to avoid violating the law. He emphasized that the Central Election Commission will handle election affairs in accordance with the law and will not comment on nuclear energy safety or service extension issues. In addition, in response to the temporary adjustment of the time of the 4th TV conference of the Nuclear 3 referendum, Li Jinyong clarified that it was a misunderstanding and that the meeting was arranged on the TV station and there was no violation. News highlights: after the defeat of the 726 recall, there were voices of review within the DPP, including demanding the resignation of President and Party Chairman Lai Ching-te and discussions on cabinet reshuffle. Former President Chen Shui-bian publicly supported Lai King and Premier Zhou Rongta, saying that Zhou was the best candidate for Lai, and believed that Zhou was held accountable for non-war crimes. It is rumored that the top management of the Green Camp plans to carry out a partial cabinet reshuffle after the second wave of recalls and referendums on August 23, keeping the cabinet unchanged and only replacing the controversial cabinet members. Party factions such as the National Assembly and the Yangjian Association also expressed their support for the Lai Zhou system to maintain political stability. News highlights: former People's Party Chairman Kei Wen's was involved in the Jinghua City case, and the Taipei District Court extended his detention for 2 months, prohibiting interviews and communications from August 2, and the High Court rejected the appeal. She posted again on the 14th that she was just telling the facts, criticizing the judiciary for being fragile and the lack of substantive evidence in detention, which is equivalent to long-term detention until death, and accused the prosecutor of invoking the law at will, calling on the judiciary to present a respectable image and protect the respect space for her and her husband. News highlights: the Ministry of Health and Welfare launched the Wolf Doctor Inquiry platform, which is integrated into the Medical Personnel Gender Incident Information Zone of the official website Medical Inquiry System to provide the public with inquiries about gender equality cases determined by the court. The first wave of the list has a total of 7 people, including 6 doctors and 1 medical radiologist, of which 4 are suspended or out of business, and the rest are marked with the county and city of practice. The platform can check the subject, name and referee link. The Ministry of Health and Welfare stated that at this stage, the main focus is on the judgment after the amendment of the 3 gender equality laws in 2023, and the full text of the judgment of the Judicial Yuan will be accessed in the future. News highlights: TSMC broke out in a 2nm technology leak, and 3 engineers involved in the case were detained and prohibited from meeting, and confidential information flowed to Tokyo Power Science and Technology in Japan. All 3 are alumni of Tsinghua University, and one of them is an associate professor at Tsinghua University. Another alumnus said in an interview with foreign media that the division of labor in the semiconductor process is complex, and most engineers cannot grasp the whole picture. News highlights: pediatrician Chen Mirong shared on Facebook that the correct phonetic spelling of in-law is or, which sparked heated discussions among parents. He suggested that when teaching, check the dictionary first, and don't rush to correct the child, so as not to make mistakes yourself. The simplified version of the Ministry of Education's dictionary includes or, while the recompiled Mandarin dictionary only includes. News highlights: the Legislative Yuan passed the special regulations on strengthening resilience in the 3rd reading, specifying the legal source of 10,000 yuan in general cash. The Executive Yuan will propose an amendment to stipulate that the special budget will be disbursed within 1 month after the announcement and completed within 7 months. The amendment also expands the scope of application, adding strengthening the power system and raising the budget ceiling from 5,450 billion yuan to 5,900 billion yuan to cover industrial electricity needs, care for the disadvantaged, and distribution of operating funds. News highlights: North City Councilor Ho Hanting criticized Minister of Economic Affairs Guo Zhihui for promising to skip tickets on the day the U.S. announced temporary tariffs on Taiwan, and actually held a banquet at the Furong Hotel with "When We Are Happily Together," sitting with the supervisory committee members and the former president of the Academia Sinica. Ho questioned Guo's failure to properly respond to the impact of tariffs, and his high performance in the polls supporting Hengchun Nuclear 3 and his charitable mentality, believing that he had lost credibility with the people as the Minister of Economy, and called on Guo Zhihui to step down. News highlights: he clarified that he only helped his friends experience non-invasive lifting for 20 minutes, and that he had never had botulinum toxin or hyaluronic acid, and admitted that natural aging is inevitable with age. The TV station played an old clip of him singing Girl Girl 40 years ago, and he lamented that he was young and had the highest traffic at the time. Yang Fan revealed that long-term exposure to exterior exposure and makeup habits damage the skin. The skin texture is dull but there are no forehead wrinkles yet, and the usual maintenance is simple. He is indifferent to his appearance, thinking that once I had it, it was enough, and accepted aging with a calm mind. News highlights: a woman in the United States, Lenizan, was suspected of food poisoning when she was on a United Airlines flight, vomiting and diarrhea for an hour and a half, causing a biochemical crisis on board and causing subsequent flights to be cancelled. She had already felt unwell beforehand, and her symptoms worsened after boarding the plane, so she could only stay in the toilet. After the plane landed, the flight attendant dispatched a hazardous substance handling team to clean up and assisted her in retrieving her luggage in a wheelchair. The cause of the incident was eating an undercooked burger the night before, and the airline confirmed the incident and emphasized that the crew had responded properly. News highlights: attention mothers with newborns. The Labor Insurance Bureau of the Ministry of Labor issued National Pension Insurance Maternity Benefits today, 14th, and each eligible woman can receive 39,522 yuan, calculated based on the monthly insured amount for 2 months, and twins or multiple births will increase proportionally. The application must be completed within 5 years after childbirth or preterm birth, and no payment will be made after the deadline. Those who give birth due to the same pregnancy accident within 1 year after surrender can also apply retroactively. Applications can be made through the Household Registration Office, online or by mail. There are also a number of allowances and annuities in August. Please pay attention to the account confirmation. News highlights: DPP legislator Lin Dehua was prosecuted for fraudulently receiving assistant fees of 1,496 yuan, and was accused of having an ambiguous relationship with the abbot of Tongfa Temple. Former legislator Guo Zhengliang analyzed that if Lin Dehua, who has strong grassroots strength in Kaohsiung, is suppressed by party operations, supporters may not vote, or votes may flow to the Kuomintang KZN and Xiaolongxia, increasing their chances of winning. He pointed out that the struggle in the Kaohsiung primary election is fierce, and although Lin Dehua is leading in the polls, if the DPP fails to unite, the future election may be unfavorable to her. News highlights: Singapore's popular restaurant Jumbo Seafood announced that it will end its business in Taiwan, and the last branch in Taiwan will turn off the lights on August 31st, shocking gourmets. Jumbo Seafood has been in the Taiwan exhibition store for 8 years, famous for its chili crab, pepper crab, salted egg fried shrimp balls and crispy fried sudong sai, which are deeply loved by diners. Fans wailed, "How could it be so sudden? I can only go to Singapore to eat in the future," lamenting that this classic Singaporean delicacy will withdraw from the Taiwan market. News highlights: artist Sun Peng and Diying's son Sun Anzuo, who was previously announced by his agent to be completely suspended due to poor mental state, is currently working as a coach in the gym. De Ying recently banned him from boxing and planned to send him to Japan to study, but the agent said, "That's the family's wishes, and it's useless if Anzuo doesn't want it." On Father's Day, De Ying posted a family photo. Son Anzuo had a smile on his face, and his agent said that he still needed to rest more, and the resumption time was undecided. News highlights: in response to the 20% tariff imposed by the United States on my country on August 7, the Legislative Yuan passed the special regulations on strengthening economic, social, and national security resilience in response to the international situation, specifying that the general cash payment is 1 yuan. The Executive Yuan passed the amendment draft on the 14th, changing the original provision to be distributed before October 31, 114 to the special budget will be distributed within 1 month after the announcement and completed within 7 months, and the total budget will be increased from 5,450 billion yuan to 5,900 billion yuan, of which 5,700 billion yuan will be prepared for a special budget first, and 200 billion yuan will be flexibly used to meet the needs of various industries. News highlights: DPP legislator Wang Yushuan ridiculed Taichung Mayor Liu Xian for using 2,400 yuan of liquid foundation on the program, which caused misogyny criticism, but was searched by party spokespersons and some supporters. Former legislator Shen Fuqiang criticized the DPP's infighting, pointing out that the real dissatisfaction of the people is President Li Qiang and the party, not gender issues. Li Qiang emphasized that diverse voices within the party are the norm, and debates should be face-to-face and rational dialogue, insisting that ideas should be based on persuasion, not zero-sum competition. News highlights: in the face of tariff shocks and the issue of recall, the cabinet reshuffle has risen again, and Foreign Minister Lin Qialong has been named as a possible successor to the cabinet. Lin Qialong went to the Legislative Yuan today to prepare for inquiries, and did not respond positively to whether to take over, only emphasizing that Taiwan is in a difficult international situation, and hopes that the government and the opposition will unite to support diplomatic work and strive for the country's maximum development space. The National Defense and Foreign Affairs Committee also invited officials from various ministries and agencies to report on Taiwan-US relations, the Russia-Ukraine war, and assistance for the Israel-Kazakhstan conflict. News highlights: the Central Meteorological Administration lifted the onshore typhoon warning at 5 a.m. this morning, and is expected to lift the maritime warning at 8:30 a.m. Meteorological expert Wu Durong reminded that new typhoons may form in the South China Sea within 3 or 4 days, and the probability of invading Taiwan is not high, but it still needs to be observed. Today, there will be local showers in Huadong and Pingtung, the western half will be hot, and there will still be strong convection in the central and southern parts in the afternoon. The weather will improve in various places in the coming week, but there will still be showers or thunderstorms in the mountains and some flat areas in the afternoon, and the high temperature will continue. News highlights: in July of the lunar calendar, the White Tiger star is coming, and Zaiwei Dusha teacher Yao Benjun reminded that zodiac ox, snake, sheep, and rooster need to be vigilant about workplace and financial risks in the second half of the year. Niu is prone to being implicated in interpersonal misunderstandings or contract negligence. Snakes face money, tax, and contract disputes, so they should be conservative in their financial management. Sheep may encounter career transfers or cross-border changes, so you need to pay attention to transportation and legal documents. Chickens should guard against rumors, evaluation pressure, and small circle culture to avoid being the target of the blame. Rational judgment and prudence are the keys to preventing disasters. News highlights: modern people often take stomach medicine for a long time due to stomach pain, but pharmacist Hu Tingyu reminded that long-term use of stomach medicine will reduce the ability of gastric acid to kill gastric acid, allowing Helicobacter pylori to have a chance to be infected and increase the risk of stomach cancer. 90% of stomach cancer in Taiwan is related to pylori bacteria, not processed foods. There are 3 ways to prevent stomach cancer: avoid taking stomach medicine for a long time, take a full course of antibiotics, and use male chopsticks and spoons at home to prevent infection. Helicobacter pylori is easy to detect and treat, and as long as it is implemented, it can reduce the risk of most stomach cancers. News highlights: Tucker, a 103-year-old physician in the United States, was certified by Guinness Records as the world's oldest practicing physician, and he shared the secrets of longevity, including staying physically and mentally active, never smoking, and not holding grudges. Tucker emphasized that retirement may accelerate cognitive deterioration, and continuing to work, make decisions, and interact with others can help slow down dementia. He also opposes extreme lifestyles, advocating moderation and enjoyment of life while maintaining curiosity and learning, believing that genes and luck also affect longevity, but not smoking and not hating are the most important. News highlights: the Taiwan men's basketball team once led by 21 points in the quarterfinals of the Asian Cup against Iran, but was reversed in the fourth quarter, losing 75-78 and missing the top 4. After the game, Taiwanese-American mixed-race player He Bo was suspected of crying on the sidelines, and his brother He Dan comforted him and his eyes were red, and the team's morale was low. The official IG of the FIBA Asian Cup posted a mocking meme after the game, matching the Iranian and Taiwanese team emblems with the text "Call an ambulance, but not help me," which caused angry comments from Taiwanese fans. criticizing the official for lacking sportsmanship and disrespecting the losing team. News highlights: Jimmy Lai, the 77-year-old founder of Hong Kong's One Media, has been detained since the end of 2020 and has been held in solitary confinement for most of the time, accumulating nearly 1,700 days, far exceeding the recommended upper limit of the United Nations Mandela rules, and is considered torture. He is older and has a history of diabetes and cataract surgery, and he has been isolated in a cell with high temperature, humidity, and poor light, and his physical and mental health has been seriously affected. His friend Chi Food pointed out that the Hong Kong government said that he took the initiative to request solitary confinement, but the letter was not fully disclosed, and the original lawyer was refused entry, so he had to change his lawyer as a last resort, calling for international observers to be allowed to visit and protect their rights. News highlights: a 47-year-old man surnamed Lu in Taipei City broke into the TV station many times this month to collect copyright fees, including entering the studio of Mirror TV on the 13th and jostling with employees, chasing anchor Gao Wenyan on Times TV on the 8th, and splashing water on Dongsan TV on the 11th. Lu Nan claimed to be a Google executive and demanded that the TV station pay $100 million in copyright fees. After the police investigation, Lu Nan was transferred to the court for the crime of trespassing, and the prosecution ordered him to post bail of 3,000 yuan, and the whole case is still under investigation. News highlights: as Japan ages, the 8050 problem is becoming increasingly serious, that is, children in their 50s still rely on their parents in their 80s to live. A report revealed the real case of a 70-year-old father Yuichi and his 38-year-old daughter. His daughter was frustrated in her job search, changed jobs many times and even attempted suicide. Although Yuichi is helpless, he still hopes to arrange a future for his daughter when he is healthy. Experts suggest that support for the elderly should focus on dialogue, and gradually restore the autonomy and parent-child relationship of the parties through long-term companionship and third-party assistance. News highlights: male singer Park Xiang once won the first place in The Voice of China JOTEAM5, died suddenly of myocardial infarction in the early morning of the 8th of this month, at the age of 35, shocking the music scene and fans. The doctor pointed out myocardial infarction is gradually getting younger, and it is often overlooked due to mild symptoms, and delaying treatment can be fatal. High-risk groups include men, patients with 3 highs, obesity, family history, and people with poor lifestyle habits. The public can use the Heart Pain Index Assessment Scale to self-test symptoms such as chest pain, upper abdominal pain, wheezing, and cold sweats greater than or equal to 2 points. You should seek medical attention as soon as possible, and pay attention to warning signs such as weakness, dizziness, left shoulder, or back pain. News highlights: Chinese actress Zhao Lucy has performed well in recent years, but at the end of December 2024, she urgently suspended her work due to physical discomfort. She recently fully revealed in a live broadcast that she had been violently treated by her former agency Galaxy Cool Entertainment in the past, including being pulled by her hair, slapped, and even choked. "I think your wings are hard," and was forced to pay a huge amount of money in exchange for stopping spreading rumors. Zhao Lucy said that she was not famous at the time and was intimidated when she was forced to accept business activities by the company and refused. She also emphasized that the company asked her to say that she had been drinking, but in fact she did not drink at all, and called on the other party to stop denying the atrocities. News highlights: in response to Typhoon Yangliu hitting Taiwan, President Lai Ching-te sat at the Disaster Response Center on the afternoon of the 13th to learn about the disaster situation in various places. He clarified that the statement that the National Army cannot enter private houses during the investigation of Typhoon Dinas last month was misunderstood, but it was actually due to the Ministry of National Defense's instruction to avoid entering private property to prevent disputes. Lai King emphasized that the National Army's disaster relief is an important task, and it was and is still the case. In this Typhoon Yangliu, the total number of troops on standby of the National Army reached 31,573, calling on the society to understand the hard work of the National Army. News highlights: in the early morning of July 31st, Chunghua Telecom was unable to make calls to mobile phones across Taiwan due to abnormal upgrading of the mobile network system, affecting a large number of users. The system gradually returned to normal after 6 a.m., but it still caused inconvenience. Chunghua Telecom announced that it will compensate for the domestic voice communication fee of 8% of the monthly rent for each mobile phone number, which will be automatically discounted on the bill in September. News highlights: Typhoon Yangliu hit Hengchun, Pingtung, with a cumulative rainfall of nearly 100 mm in 1 hour yesterday, 13th, the highest in Taiwan, causing temporary water accumulation in low-lying sections of the urban area and blocking traffic. The Pingtung County Water Resources Department said that nearly 90% of the Dongmen Creek flood control project has been completed, but short-term heavy rainfall exceeds the drainage capacity, and the flood discharge in the mountainous area is not enough to drain the urban area, resulting in flooding. Deputy Director Lin Huanwen pointed out that if the sewer system is fully deployed, urban drainage will be accelerated, and the county government is seeking funding subsidies to complete the remaining flood control projects and reduce the risk of future flooding. News highlights: although Typhoon Yangliu did not enter the storm circle of northern Taiwan, strong winds of 9 to 10 were still blowing in Greater Taipei, with a maximum of 11 on the coast and Ozu Terrace. The fan page Taiwan Typhoon Forum Weather Express pointed out that there are three main reasons. First, the corner effect, which accelerates the airflow in the mountainous areas of the northeast corner. The second is the pressure gradient, and the Pacific high pressure on the north side of the typhoon forms a strong easterly wind. Third, the typhoon is moving westward rapidly and continues to be easterly. The coincidence of three factors made the north feel strong winds all day long even if it was not within the warning range. News highlights: Taipei City Councilor Ho Hanting broke the news that Economic Minister Guo Zhihui attended a dinner party with the theme of When We Are Happy Together at the hotel on the night the United States announced a 20% reciprocal tariff on Taiwan on August 1, triggering criticism from lawmakers for stepping down early. The Ministry of Economic Affairs clarified that the dinner was not hosted by the Minister or the Ministry of Economic Affairs, and Guo Zhihui was only invited by medical friends to attend. News highlights: Former People's Party Chairman Kei Wen's was detained for the Jinghua City corruption case and political donation case, and his wife Chen Piki recently posted on social platforms that she jumped off the building and shot him dead, which attracted attention and was deleted. Today, 14th, Chen Piki issued another article pointing out that she was only stating the facts, questioning the fragility and harshness of Taiwan's judiciary, criticizing the court's long-term detention of Kei Wen's but not finding positive evidence, pointing out that the prosecution speculated and ruled that the crime was serious, and called on the judiciary to enhance credibility and respect. She also used historical metaphors to say that capable ministers are often beheaded by tyrants, criticizing the current cruelty of governance. News highlights: factors such as the defeat of the 726 recall and the typhoon disaster in the central and southern regions led to a decline in President Li Qing's polls, and the outside world is concerned about whether the cabinet will be reshuffled after 823. Premier Zhou Rongta said that if necessary, important personnel will be dealt with as appropriate, while former President Chen Shui-bian strongly supported Zhou Rongta as President La's best cabinet candidate, and pointed out that he had flipped the 26:51 support in the past, calling on the post-823 to carry out a partial restructuring of the executive and legislative departments, readjust the strategy, and make every effort to fight for the economy and people's livelihood. News highlights: eyewear brand JINS Taiwan recently uploaded a street interview video on its official YouTube channel, which contained remarks about discrimination against Down syndrome and homosexuality, causing dissatisfaction among netizens. JINS issued a statement apologizing, saying that the video was put on the shelves without internal review due to communication errors, which was by no means the original intention of the brand, and it is deeply sorry to the affected groups and audiences. The statement pointed out that it will strengthen the video review mechanism, comprehensively review the production process and internal education, continue to listen to opinions for improvement, and punish those who fail to do their jobs, hoping to produce programs with a more rigorous attitude to avoid secondary harm. News highlights: Taiwan stocks fluctuated at a high level on the 14th, once rushing to 24,389.51 points during the session, but turned black due to the impact of stop-profit selling pressure. TSMC opened lower and lower, reaching a low of 1,175 yuan in early trading, dragging the market down about 199 points. Analysts pointed out that although technical indicators have pulled back in the overbought area, the market still holds the 5-day moving average, and the short-term bullish pattern has not changed, showing a high-end shock changeover. Securities experts believe that Taiwan stocks may reach new highs at any time, supported by four factors: expectations of Fed interest rate cuts, good revenue from AI groups, low exchange rate fluctuations in the third quarter, and hot money inflows. Low base groups such as Silicon Photonics, PA, and post-Typhoon Code 16 stocks have layout opportunities. News highlights: the fire of Taiwan Cement Corporation, 1101, subsidiary Sanyuan Energy caused damage of about 164 billion yuan, and after deducting insurance, it affected Taiwan Cement Corporation by about 110 billion yuan, and it will be recorded in the third quarter at the earliest. On the 14th, the stock price opened low and fell 7.07%, once falling below the monthly line, and the intraday decline converged to less than 5%. Chairman Zhang Anping said that it will continue to expand the high-end battery market. The third backup production line of the Southern Science and Technology plant has been put into operation, overseas production arrangements have also been completed, and some customers have provided NRE and production support. He and his executives requested a 20% salary cut, demonstrating their responsibility. News highlights: Senway Energy, 6806, announced on the 13th that the second phase of the offshore wind power project and Taipower negotiated a dispute, and the additional project funds were temporarily listed as a loss of 44.3 billion yuan, and the stock price gapped and fell to the limit on the 14th, locking the intraday, with more than 1.2 sell orders. The parent company Zhengwei, 2392, fell more than 8% intraday, and Yangwei Investment Holdings, 3712, was also affected. Chairman Hu Huizhen said that due to the unclear retention fund, construction period, and budget, Fuwei Energy will prudently set a stop-loss point to protect the rights and interests of investors and avoid expanding losses. News highlights. According to statistics from residential and commercial institutions, the household purchase ratio in the first half of the year in the 6 capitals was only 1.4%, the lowest since 2016, showing that only about 1.4 households per 100 households bought houses. In the first half of last year, driven by the new Ching'an effect, the household home-to-house ratio reached 2.1%, but the central bank's 7th wave of credit controls and loan restrictions caused the housing market to freeze. Among the 6 capitals, Dawon had the highest rate of only 2%, Taipei had the lowest of 1.1%, and the rest of the cities fell by 0.6 to 0.8 percentage points. Experts pointed out that if loan restrictions are not relaxed in the second half of the year, the housing market may continue to be sluggish, and the transaction speed will cool down significantly. News highlights. After Taiwan Cement Corporation announced its second quarter financial report, it disclosed the fire incident of its subsidiary Sanyuan Energy Technology, which was initially estimated to have an impact on Taiwan Cement's profit of about 110 billion yuan, and the actual amount has yet to be confirmed. Chairman Zhang Anping and General Manager Cheng Yawai will take the lead in requesting a 20% salary cut until the end of the year, and continue to clarify the cause of the fire. Orders for the Sanyuan plant and the Southern Science and Technology plant will exceed twice the original production capacity by 2026, and TCC has activated the third backup production line of the Southern Science and Technology plant and arranged for overseas outsourcing of the production of Molacell high-end batteries to ensure the stability of the supply chain. The fire may have been caused by manual inspection processes or abnormalities in automated equipment, and the investigation is still ongoing. News highlights. U.S. President Donald Trump sent about 800 national militiamen to Washington, D.C., to directly oversee the local police, highlighting the special status of the capital and the limited power of local governments. Although Washington residents pay federal taxes, they do not have the right to vote in Congress, which has sparked a heated discussion of establishing a state. If it is upgraded to the 51st state, it will be named Douglas State, Washington, and elect 2 senators and 1 voting representative, but the Republican Party controls Congress, making it difficult to pass the bill. Supporters believe it can protect voters' rights, while opponents worry that the area is too small and affects the federal government, and Trump called the establishment of a state ridiculous. News highlights. Actress Dia, Jo Yipi, announced today, 14th, through her agency that she and badminton coach A Liaoshi have divorced peacefully, ending their 5-year marriage. Dia said that the two separated not because of a quarrel or a third party, but after getting along, they found that they were more suitable for each other to be family and friends. The divorce procedures were completed on July 24, and both parties emphasized that they would not leave any resentment, thanked each other for their companionship and support, and wished each other good health and maintain a positive relationship in the future. News highlights. A 41-year-old man surnamed Huang was suspected of beating his 93-year-old grandmother Lin Nu with a stick and stabbing him to death with a fruit knife due to a verbal dispute. When the police arrived, Lin Nu was obviously dead and was not sent to the hospital. The Yunlin District Prosecutor's Office determined that Huang Nan was involved in the crime of murder under Article 271 of the criminal law and was at risk of fleeing, and applied to the court for detention and was approved. The cause of death is still under investigation, and the case will be assisted by a special team of citizen judges. News highlights. Be careful when drinking water in summer. Huang Xian, a chest and intensivist physician, pointed out that Harvard research has confirmed that high temperatures will cause plastic bottles to release bisphenol A, BPA, into water, and long-term intake may increase the risk of obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and coronary heart disease, affecting male sperm quality and fetal brain development. Experiments showed that drinking water from a polycarbonate bottle for a week increased urine BPA concentration by 69%. Huang Xian recommends avoiding placing bottled water in a high-temperature environment in the car, using glass or stainless steel water bottles instead, and recognizing the BPA-free label. News highlights. The 11th anniversary of variety show Play's Big Food Car Roundabout project finally stood in Taitung, and guest Wei Ruyun sang the most romantic song on earth by Little Ghost, Huang Hongsheng, which made the hosts Wu Zongxian, Kid, and Kunda feel heavy, and the atmosphere was full of longing and sadness. Wu Zongxian wiped his tears silently, Kunda looked up at the sky from time to time, and fans also shed tears. After Wei Ruyun finished singing, he shouted to the sky, "Ghost brother, I hope you like it." The 3 hosts said that they were very moved when they heard this song. News highlights. Mainland actress Zhao Lucy has recently been caught up in the controversy of fake helping farmers and making real money. She once made juice from damaged but edible apples and sold them, claiming to help farmers solve the problem of unsaleable, but netizens pointed out that the operating company was similar to her best friend's holding company and claimed to have obtained the Agricultural Ambassador certificate. At first, the Bureau of Agriculture said that the certificate was false, but it was later corrected to confirm that it was indeed issued to the apple juice brand company, not Zhao Lucy personally. News highlights. Recently, in order to prevent fraud, various banks have implemented new regulations on long-term non-current accounts and ATM transactions, including lowering withdrawal limits, suspending the transfer function of long-term non-transaction accounts, and some banks have even reduced the non-agreed transfer limit to 0. In addition, 9 banks suspended the use of natural person certificates to open accounts online to prevent fraud groups from fraudulently opening fake accounts. The affected users are estimated to be as high as 150, and the measures include ATM daily limit adjustments, suspension of warning account transactions, and restrictions on salary transfers or third-type digital accounts, with the aim of reducing the risk of financial fraud and ensuring the safety of user funds.